Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast battle report. Today we have 1500 points of Tyrannid Horde versus 1500 points of Dark Eldar. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to the battle report. 1500 points of Dark Eldar, the Michael Mudd Memorial Tournament army that I've been practicing with, versus 1500 points of Tyrannids. We haven't had Tyrannids on the channel in a very long time. A couple Muclid spores, some drop troop things, Tyrannid effects in one of them with a flamer, hive guard, Muclids, crone, a Morlock, a bunch of devourer gaunts, the Death Leaper that's all converted up, and a flying hive tyrant with, of course, an Imperial bunker that they have infested. So we're playing mission 1 of the Michael Mudd. The Tyrannids will be deploying that back corner, and I will be deploying in this corner as well. So the first thing we'll do is we'll roll for who decides to choose to deploy first and then choose to go first or second. The Dark Eldar will choose to deploy first. Tyrannids have deployed an infected bunker. It's an Imperial bunker with 3 hive guard in it. A hive tyrant and the Death Leaper has infiltrated up the board. The Dark Eldar deployed first. They deployed a Ravager. They deployed the Grotesques with the Autarch and the Trueborn up in the building with a commanding view of the battlefield. The Dark Eldar have decided to let the Tyrannids go first because they do have a lot of reserves to arrive, and that will help. But I'll talk more about it in the tactical corner. Okay, let's go on to Tyrannid. Turn 1. The Hive Tyrant swooped in the air, gunned the paroxysmed Trueborn. They went to ground, 2 of them died, and they failed their morale test, so they are currently fleeing. The Death Leaper did some sneaky moving, and the Hive Guard just sat in their bunker, because they're just holding that objective, creating a bubble of awesome destruction. The Dark Eldar now go on to their turn 1. We had snap shooting disintegrator cannon, put 1 wound on the evolving Hive Tyrant, so he now has feel no pain. He did not fall down. And then the Trueborn snapshot did nothing. While the Ravager landed 2 shots into the bunker and did no damage. So moving on to Tyrannid turn 2, let's roll for some reserves. The bunker, of course, does have a comms relay to help re-roll these reserve rolls.
3 Muclid spores. They're all in. Tyrannocyte with 20 double guns. In. Tyrannocyte with Tyrannid effects. In. Morlock. Re-rolling due to comms relay. In. And Hive Crone. In.
Awesome. The entire Tyrannid army has arrived. We had the entire army arrive. We had one of the Muclids go back into reserve. We had the Morlock kill all the Trueborn. The Devil Gaunts got out. A lot of shooting saw this Raider fail all its jinx and die. The Hive Tyrant take a wound from Perils of the Warp. The Death Leaper charge into the depleted Grotesques, putting 2 wounds on the Aberration and passing the save that was from an instant death flesh gauntlet, while the Autarch is back there trying to survive, not getting hit by strength 6. The Ravager has taken 2 hull points and is jinking, and there's a lot of Tyrannids still on the table. So let's roll for some reserves. We have the Warp Spiders. They arrive. We have the Eldar Jetbikes. I will add +1 to arrive. We will, the Warwalkers, they will arrive. We will have Venoms with the Witches, do not arrive. Venom with the Warriors arrives with the Autarch. The Cablite Warriors arrive. And the Lambing arrives as well. So that is... Oh, and the Razewing. I can't forget that guy. He arrives with the Autarch as well. Let's move on to turn 2 Dark Eldar. The most of the reserves arrived on this side, focused on the Morlock to take it down. The Razorwing blasted into the Devil Gaunts, killing 19 of them, one of them surviving because he was in cover. Death Leaper dispatched the 2 last Grotesques, and the Autarch survived. He hit and ran out of combat. The Ravager fired snapshots into the big Hive Tyrant but did no damage. And we succeeded in putting 3 out of 6 wounds on that Mycetic Spore, while these Warwalkers arrived and shot at the Hive Crone to no effect. So we'll see, as this game goes on to turn 3, what will happen. The Death Leaper and the Gaunt shot at the Autarch. He survived. The Gaunt charged in. The Autarch shot him to pieces. The Death Leaper charged in with a strength 6 attacks, did 4 wounds, and the Autarch passed 3 out of 4 saves, and he was instant killed by the Death Leaper. Other shooting saw the Hive Crone force the Razorwing into jinking, but only put 1 hull point on it, and the Hive Tyrant shot into the Warp Spiders, killing the Exarch and 1 more. They failed their morale test, and now they are falling back while this Mucilid arrived here. And that Mucilid moved around, and this Tyrannifex killed the Ravager with his Haywire Flamer. So we're moving on to Dark Eldar, turn 3. Will the Witches arrive from reserving their venom? They do not, and my Autarch is now dead. Moving on to the next turn. So a lot of shooting, saw 1 wound on the swooping Hive Tyrant, but I did eventually force him into jinking, and he did not did not fall down. The Razorwing went off the board, and then the Warwalkers killed 1 Mucilid because it's scary, and then the Lamian sold herself dearly, charging into the 2nd Mucilid, and died a horrible, hideous death. While we now move on to Tyrannid turn 4. Let's see what the later turns will bring to this game. The Death Leaper, the Mycetic Spores, the Tyrannifex tried to move up here, made the mistake of shooting at the Warp Spiders again, who jumped behind cover. The Hive Tyrant flew off the table, and the Hive Crone tried to flame these 2 tanks, doing no damage to the tanks, killing 1 warrior in here and 3 in the Venom. And then that was it. So we're moving on to Dark Eldar turn 4. The Venom with the Witches is coming on to play.
Surprise!
Surprise! Razorwing came back on. A lot of shooting. Pretty much the entire army. The new Venom, the Warwalkers, the Warp Spiders, the Jet Bikes, the guys inside the Raider, the Venom that immobilized itself, all fired at the Tyrannocyte that was on the middle objective to kill it, to get it out of the game. And finally did. And now the Warlord is coming back on the table, and we're moving on to Tyrannid turn 5. Could be the end of the game. Let's see what happens. This objective the objective in your own deployment zone is worth 1 point. The objective in the middle is worth 3, and the objective in your opponent's deployment zone is worth 2 victory points. So let's see what can happen. Okay, so game is over after turn 5. The Venom boosted up to take that objective from the Death Leaper, and this unit of Cavalry Warriors moved out here to capture the objective from the Crone. The Razorwing did die to the Hive Tyrant, and then the Tyrannifex did do some additional shooting, but not enough to stop the Dark Eldar. It was a very tight game. Wish we would have had some more time. Make sure you stay tuned for the Tactical Corner. This was a very tactical, fun and entertaining battle report. Thanks a lot for the game, Justin.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any last words for?
Absolutely. I love playing against the reserve Dark Eldar list.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's not my actual reserve Dark Eldar army.
But it was really fun. It was
But
super
it was
close.
good. It was very, very close. A lot of fun.
My armor saves apparently 4+ is the way to go.
Is the way to go. And those Warp Spiders, once again, prove their weight in gold. I love them. Stay tuned for Tactical Corners. Thanks a lot for tuning in. This is Sky out.
Oh, and welcome to another Tactical Corner. 1,500 points of Dark Eldar with Eldar allies versus 1,500 points of very nice-looking Tyrannids. The Tyrannid army was very unique. It's a very aggressive, drop-style, in-your-face alpha strike list. Minimal troops, and it was really just designed to go in and wreck some face with a lot of flamers and a lot of blast templates. So I decided to play the reserve game with my opponent. He deployed a couple of units and he had the comms relay. I deployed a couple of units and I was relying on my autarch to get the job done. Now the Trueborn, was something that I hoped that they could stay alive going to ground from their vantage point and then tackle the large hive tyrant. And then, of course, on the first turn, they ended up falling back down to the bottom floor and then got eaten by a Morlock. So the first turn was really uneventful, and this game was really going to be determined turn 2 and onwards, like most reserve games. It was an objective-based mission, and that bunker in the back with the hive guard was really putting pressure on me, as I wasn't about to just charge up there. I had nothing to reliably crack the bunker up close. Turn 2 happened, and the Tyrannids just went bonkers on my small force. The Morlock annihilated the Trueborn, eating them as it arrived from reserves. Then the rest of the shooting saw the Raider with my grotesques go down, as I did fail quite a few jinx saves, and my Ravager survive, but with only one hull point left in order to stay alive. Now, it was my turn to bring on reserves, and something that surprised me was two things in this game. One, the survivability of the Tyrannid drop pods with the high amount of wounds and their high toughness. Even for the point value, 100 points each, they are worth their weight in gold. So I knew that I had my work cut out for me. So in true Dark Eldar fashion, I overloaded a flank and I just completely annihilated the large unit of Gaunts and the Morlock, which was probably one of the most important units in the match, so he had to go. The Razor Wing focused on the troops and then of course got picked on by the Hive Crone, but careful positioning saw it unable to vector strike me as well. Now then the end of the game started happening and it all became very tactical and about the objectives. So movement and killing things in true was what it was all about. The Venoms, the Raiders, the Cabalite Warriors, and the high number of poison shots started to show their power against the monstrous creatures of the Tyrannids. Now, we had to call the game at turn 5, so that was the end of the game, and it did end, with the Dark Eldar in position to grab the objectives, but I really would have hoped to take this game maybe to turn 6 or 7 if it would have gone on, in order for us to really milk it. But other than that, great game. Thanks a lot for tuning in. This is Skari, out.